Hi, hi, hi. Welcome back to Two Kims.
One pad.
We are your Kims. I'm one of them, Peter Kim.
And I'm the other Kim, Unji Kim.
Thank you so back for coming
Back
too.
back for
What the
coming here.
fuck?
Back
What is that? You
Girl.
know what? I appreciate you being here. You don't have to be here, but you're here and it's a Monday and thank you for being here.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for
I
being here in this strange timeline that we've all decided to
yes.
occupy.
Ooh, last week we talked about bringing conspiracy theories, and I have so many that I've collected this week, Anji. Like, I'm really like how some people on TikTok's like, we need a Joe Rogan of the left,
Yeah.
and we were talking about that. Like, how do we do a left
You've always
distante?
been. You've been coming
A
for the
left.
spot for years.
I think we both have. Our podcast is like that niche, but I feel like we haven't done that well because like the left doesn't really want to play like that. They want to play by the
Mm.
rules. It's a bunch of Eagle Scouts.
Yes, yes.
And then the right is, like the cool guys who like smoke cigarettes and hang out
And
in pool
rob the Eagle
halls.
Scouts. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we wedgie them, and
Yes,
like
yes.
that's what it's boiled down to. It's even boiled down to that. Watching, I'm sure you didn't watch, but I watched the Tyson Jake Paul
Oh,
fight.
I watched the like replay of it. I didn't watch it live.
I watched it live.
Upsetting.
Okay, the way I watched it in metaphor, you know what I mean? Like,
Like the AP English major, AP English kid you are, right? Um,
yes,
like
I'm looking
speaking of
for
Democrat
layered
versus
meetings.
Republican,
I
yeah.
know this is why
Okay.
we lose, but Jake Paul really does represent for me like this new Gen Z aggro male um toxicity.
Sure.
Whether the heel he is playing is like
Authentic to himself, yes.
authentic or revved up or not, it doesn't matter. That's how
It
he
actually
makes
it
money.
truly does not matter
It
because
doesn't matter.
authenticity is not a point of is not a touchstone mentally or philosophically for any Gen Z. Like if
No.
you were to ask any of them who you are authentically at your core, I do not think that question would resonate. One, two, it
Mm.
would make you seem stupid.
Yeah.
You don't understand branding, bitch.
It's like, who cares?
Who cares?
Authenticity doesn't sell.
Like exactly. Like who am I? Who am I to the consumer? Like what the fuck are you even talking about? Are you even
Yeah.
trying to out? Are you securing a bag,
Or
bitch? Like
not. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Like I
Yeah.
mean, it truly does not. And to their credit,
Hmm.
the culture and society they currently operate and live in does not care. Also, does
No.
not reward any type of authenticity. So they're correct.
Yes, absolutely. And they're making a ton of money and also
Morally
becoming the
bankrupt.
yes, and the way he and his brother Logan Paul came out on to I almost said stage to the ring is it was kind of like they were coming out to a stage, like they
Of
were playing
course.
these characters,
Of course.
and it was very WWE.
Yes, which is always a
And
stage.
exactly, and that's the like toxic male version of Wicked, our Wicked. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that's their musical theater.
Yes.
So, um,
Theater in the round.
yes, and they have really, Gladiator too. So they've
Hmm.
really like captured this sub segment slash majority of the country that when Jake Paul and Logan Paul came out, they were unanimously booed by 85,000 people.
Yes.
And people were hard booing them. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
So, and this is what's also transpired with Donald Trump as well and
Hmm.
MAGA is that like they on like the way we were talking about how like our playbook has always been like, oh my God, democracy's in shambles. Like they want that. They want the villain. They want the heel. So like we're like playing two different games here, and that goes back to the metaphor of like Jake Paul and a 58-year-old Mike Tyson should not be in the ring. We're playing different games. And clearly they're just in it for the $20 million payday.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
like imagery wise, just watching him bat Tyson around like a cat bats around a 58-year-old mouse was so incredibly saddening. Not that I care. I when I asked Eric to watch this. He was not into
Yeah.
it, but I was like, can
No.
we please watch this? I need to watch two idiots beat the shit out of each other. That's what I was hoping for.
That's not what
This was
happened.
something altogether different,
Yes.
and it was upsetting
Hmm.
and sickening, I thought.
Because I mean, ultimately, this is the thing. There is a certain amount of mercy that Jake Paul was exhibiting,
Yeah,
right? Because he could have just fucked him up.
absolutely.
Like,
But he would have turned the audience against him. It's
that's right.
almost like Roman ruler. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
D
It was
down, right.
this.
But
It
more
was
so, it
this.
was absolutely, and it wound up being this, and which they also did not enjoy, right? Because it was so utterly like mediocre, right? Like the thrill, there was no epic kind of uppercut fall, right? There was nothing, there was no epicness to it. There was no either a victory or in defeat. There was
Mm,
nothing that gave them the juice of the initial coming out of the ring. Even the hype up to the fight itself was
mm.
more intense and epic and
But it
like
would not have gone well if he knocked him out. As
I
in,
think the
Jake
question
Paul would have lost a lot of fans if he did not show mercy.
oh,
This is his way of securing his bag
I don't know.
because he won, but what he really won was the right to say, oh, you hate me? Well, I'm going to keep getting richer and keep getting bigger, and I'm going to own this sport. And that's what he won.
I
The
mean, his
knockout would
record
have made him completely hated. Not hated, but like disliked. And that's where you don't want to be. You want to
reviled
be hated.
reviled in a different sort of way. Because I mean, the thing is, anyone, if you're familiar with the WWE or wrestling at all, the heel is necessary. The heel is very important. The heel is, I mean, John Cena was a heel. The Rock
Hmm.
was a heel. Like all these
Hmm.
people were heels before they became the ultimate the hero,
The
right?
hero. Yeah.
I mean, and that's
That's
like
what he's
the
going for.
absolutely. This is a
Exactly.
narrative arc, and it happens. It's straight out of Greek shit. You know,
Yeah.
there's no new story here. I mean, even the Iron Sheik, if you know of him from internet, from Twitter days, was very famously a heel on the internet. It's
Hmm.
crazy if you look at the attitude and the kind of troll behavior that the Iron Sheik sort of. I'm like, Iron Sheik and Donald Trump kind of occupied the same spot of Twitter.
Hmm.
You know, in the early days.
Yeah. This is the world that Vince McMahon made.
Truly. And there is
There would
something,
be no UFC or Dana White without Vince McMahon.
but also
It-
this is the thing, like there is something in our culture that is really coming towards this as like moths to a flame. Like this for
mhm.
some reason um reveals some sort of truth because maybe it's so clear because it's without ambiguity or nuance because you know, good and bad. Like it's so clear and simple in these sort of times that are
Yeah.
fraught with nuance and
Mhm.
like things that require a lot of intimate understanding. So like it does not
Or
it's
the
not
ability to read beyond the fifth grade level.
so
Mhm.
like it's not like crazy surprising that as we come to the end of our empire that
Mhm.
our sort of sport has now become the same thing as in like the Roman Empire, the sort of the thing that portended their end as well.
Yeah.
Like it does absolutely make sense.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but I do think that I don't know if the mercy or not showing it would have, I think you're right. Like it would have made him much more reviled. I don't know what Jake Paul's like ultimate, like, does he want to run for president? Like, what's the game here
No.
ultimately?
No.
I mean, he's
He just
11 and
wants to
1.
be
He's 11
yeah,
and 1. He's like a winning,
yeah, of course. Like he has completely taken over the sport. And who knows what's going on behind the scenes. Like boxing's never been a fair sport, but
no.
um he's getting exactly what he wants, and so is that part of the nation that feels his rage or his like underdogginess or whatever the fuck he thinks he is or pretends to be. Like a lot of people are attaching to that. Same thing with Donald Trump and Andy Kim, Senator Andy Kim elect. He said something very interesting about Donald Trump, and he was like, "Listen, the same reason why I got elected is the same exact reason Donald Trump got elected. No one trusts the government.
Yes.
Exactly. So like
All-time low.
no one
All-time low.
trusts boxers who like boxed all their life. They want a Jake Paul to come in like interrupt it. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
they want trolls. We want trolls because like every institution has failed us. So we're like, fuck it, full troll. So that's what like where we are. And it feels almost like, I don't know, there's something like welcoming about the fact that like no one's lying anymore. Those KKK demonstrations in Michigan outside of Anne Frank, like I'm not saying it's a good thing, but also it's there. It's they were just hiding. You know what I mean? Like let's get it out. Like when are we ever going to talk about slavery? When are we ever going to talk about indigenous erasure? Like we don't. So like let's go. You know what I mean? Like, it, you can't heal until the fucking shit is cleaned.
I mean, like, there's definitely like all these sort of rise and hate groups and hate crime is always correlated with the economic plight of whatever that subsect is, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not like, I mean, I think I would be loath to say that people are inherently predisposed to hate other groups of people all the time. Like,
You're
it's
pushed to that.
yeah, and there's like sort of a
Yeah.
cultural thing. And so right now, at least with Logan Paul and like all this stuff kind of cropping up, I mean, too there is some substance to the um the complaints of like young Gen Z men.
Mm-hmm.
Not about like women not fucking them or anything, but they do have fewer economic prospects. They
Mm-hmm.
are less educated. There are
Mm-hmm.
fewer like opportunities for them. They cannot get out of their economic situation because they're not educated, they don't have the opportunity. And now the Republicans and the conservative movement have focused in on this woke culture that also won't allow them to rise. Right.
Right.
So there is like um a legitimacy to like some of their like frustration.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they've decided to manifest it and the way that the conservative movement has co-opted this anger and like turned it into this horrible like kind of machine to um like it's just so not it does help their cause
Mm-hmm.
because conservatism breeds and needs to it feeds on like people not wanting things to change
Mm-hmm.
and very specifically. But what's crazy about this is that that's usually been conservatism, but this is like a kind of conservative, like you're saying, like troll, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
P.T. Barnum meets conservatism. Like
Yeah.
it's like welcome, come on in, see the lion, eat the tamer, right? Come on,
Yeah.
like let's see it happen because it's not working. It's all a lie anyway. Like the timer doesn't like do anything. He's actually been beating the lion, and now this is when the lion gets to, have its revenge. Like
Yeah.
it's so intensely pessimistic and so intensely nihilistic
Mm-hmm.
that
How
there's
could
a
you
part
not be? Look at the fucking earth. Look at Gen Z. Like we have a different perspective. Like Gen Z has been online since birth, and then the earth has been dying since birth. So like what hope do they have but to burn it all down?
but that's the thing. Like
Like I wouldn't have any hope if I was young.
but that is the folly of youth. They are supposed to have faith and hope. We're the ones that should be nihilistic.
We didn't give them enough to be hopeful
But
about.
I mean, no, what generation ever has, what next generation has ever felt that the generation before them has done enough for them? It's like
Not
this is
done
the
enough,
way.
but like this is different. Like the advancement of AI, tech, depersonalization, and uh complete globalization, but at the same time, loneliness because you're in your phone. Like we've never seen anything like this human history before. You know what I mean? Like
I think the
it's
mental
never
health
been
part is
like this.
absolutely, yes. The mental health part is absolutely true. I mean, the other sort of machinations, like the environment, economic and stuff like that, turn of century, like the Gilded Age sort of shit, where it was like the disparity between rich and poor. Um, I think it's like we're more beyond that, but that was like a time which like the poor were like fucking enough. Like no one, no one is working for us, all that stuff. You
Hmm.
know, I will say that I feel a little I don't know if so I was listening to the interview that Bernie had with The Daily,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if the intention was to give hope, but it
Mm-hmm.
did
Mm-hmm.
because it was a Bernie basically eviscerated the Democratic Party for abandoning its values, its promise to the middle and working class,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that we got fucked up trying to cater to very niche identities versus it ultimately being a class struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And because that speaks to the most people across the board. And again, I don't know if he intended for it to feel hopeful because he was pissed and
Mm-hmm.
repeatedly chastised Michael Barbaro. Like at one point, he was like, "Are you even listening to what I'm saying?"
Uh,
I mean, like really classic crotchety Bernie,
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
someone who when my son wanted to know if that was like an accent that he put on when he is the character of Bernie Sanders.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, no, this is unfortunately him all the time. Like he's
Mm.
Larry David
David.
esque. Like, yeah,
Mm.
like just on and off, kind of always the same. And again, I don't know if his intention was to give hope because it didn't seem like it, but it did to me give hope because I think that the way that he articulated it, it feels like something that the next generation can latch onto because it is very clear. It's like when we were young people that it was when AT&T and T and Big Bell broke up and Ticketmaster took like the corporatization of America and the how evil it was and how poorly it was going to how much it was going to hurt middle and lower middle class Americans was so clear,
Mm.
and the fight against them was across the board and very clear. Occupy Wall Street. This is how it all started.
Mm.
That's what's crazy. That MAGA, the origins of it is Occupy Wall Street,
Mm.
right? Like
Yeah.
those are the philosophical seedlings of what now make America great again is the movement. So if you consider that, like it's breathtaking a little bit how much a true and sort of pure idea can be corrupted in this way in a matter of one generation.
Mm.
But also, it makes me feel like in one generation, it can be another thing, not
Yeah.
worse, right? But like a return to something in some way, like
Yeah.
same way that,
I agree. I think that's why Trump 2.0, I'm embracing it because I mean, we've been texting about these appointments and shit. Like, they do not care. They don't care. So, like, I
I mean,
think
it's really
the tipping
crazy.
point has to come. We can't keep like pushing the tipping point away and being like, not during my presidency. You know what I mean? Like, no, no, we have to come to head and we have to have a reckoning. And not that I am pro violence, but I do think
You're
a
very
lot of things can't happen without violence.
sure,
People are pissed.
of course.
You have to be pissed enough to get violent for things to change. You don't have to use violence, but the undercurrent of that anger is already here. It's been here. We've just been ignoring it. We've just been like fucking like putting movie stars on trial and shit. You know what I mean? Like we're distracting, like aliens out of the water. Like
Yeah, yeah.
let's get to the fucking issue. Let's go. Like
I mean, I
Jeff
think these support,
Bezos and six people own the government.
yes. I mean,
Let's go. You know
the
what I mean?
truly,
Like, what are
to
we
me,
doing? We're
these,
just ordering Prime next day, every day,
and we,
consuming, eating, foodie. You know what I mean? Like, what are we
and yet
doing?
the migrants, like, it's a problem. I mean, like, truly, like, I do feel like some of these appointments actually do feel violent. Like, it is
Yeah,
a kind of political violence that
yeah.
we
And the
as,
GOP is going to have to fight and
like,
figure it out. Yeah. They're
truly,
going to have to. We don't have the numbers to fight.
and I
Okay.
don't
So
actually
you guys are going to have to figure it
and
out.
I
You have
don't
all
trust that
three
I don't trust
branches.
I don't trust that there are enough patriots or enough people who don't want to live comfortable lives in the rockets that they'll send off to Mars when
Mars.
when we blow up Earth because
Mm-hmm.
we've had enough of the pores.
Mm-hmm.
Like truly I do not doubt that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fascinating to see who who decides to kiss the ring.
Everyone kisses the ring.
I think everyone will genuflect
Anji,
and kiss the ring,
you
and
know how people work. There are
there's
not
gonna be
that
there's
many.
gonna be an underground railroad of fucking vaccines. Like I'm gonna have to poke you so you can poke
Yeah.
someone else. And like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Not just vaccines. Our food is going to be absolute poison. Not that it already is.
yeah,
That's why I'm like, I'm so glad I live in California because at least like when it comes back to like states' rights and territories and shit like that,
yeah.
like we're at least like we're at least covered and as much as the governor can do and the legislature, but like we could have our own standards and we do. Like California, like
But you also
is
have
the
agriculture
only
out there.
state that
You have beef.
fucking
Yes.
pulls things forward for the
Yeah.
fucking country. I was talking to Eric. I was like, what other state has progressive policies that affect the rest of the nation? Name one state.
Hmm.
Zero.
Progressive. Yeah, yeah.
You know
Maybe.
what I mean? Or like anything that's not completely shilling to the billionaire class. Like no other state is pulling the country to the left. Like we're doing it alone. So I feel
Yeah.
lucky, you know, I and the amount of money that goes into the red states that don't fuck are broke, not even broke, they owe money.
But I mean,
Most of the Bible Belt are like
the tech
billions and
billionaire,
trillions in fucking
but the
debt.
Silicon Valley like billionaire class that exists in California is also, you know, buying and selling most of the government as well. Like they're a part and party
Yes.
and parcel of this current issue and problem.
It's
Elon Musk,
almost like Elon Musk. It's almost like a systematic defederalization so that California could just become its own republic.
but
And
who rules that? I mean, you think the Silicon Valley people are just going to be like chill? Like, no, they're going to also take it over. They're going to want to live there and be in control of it.
of course they are.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is we don't have to share federal like garbage with the rest of the country who's not voting in a completely trolly way.
I
Did
mean,
you see that map about the voters on like how the votes came in versus how the votes came in if you minus all uneducated whites?
yeah.
It was 42 states blue,
Hmm.
8 states red.
Hmm.
That's psychotic.
But I mean, that's a failing of the of schools. Like this is like George
I
W.
know, but that's
This
been
is
systematic
yes.
from
I mean,
their
we've
side.
left all these children behind.
Behind.
We've
That was
left
the
them.
point. How do you can't have a educated populace if you want to control them. You can't without going into their phones and identities like China. You know what I mean? Like always
Mhm.
watching like you got to have one or the other to control a populace. And we're not doing religion. You know, it
We
used
got
to
to
be
go back to religion.
religion.
We got to go back to religion. I think we
Something's got to
gotta,
break.
yeah,
Something's got to break.
we gotta try to
I'm just
do.
very excited to live here as opposed to be a blue person in a red state. Like if I was living in Texas, because I have a lot of like college friends that live there,
They gotta
no
move.
income tax, no state tax. I'm like,
You have to move.
all that state tax that you didn't pay, I hope you fucking saved so you can purchase a house somewhere in the blue state
Yeah.
because Texas is going to freeze and there is going to be no one to help you.
Hmm.
Did you see the 4 typhoons that hit Philippines and 4 in 10 days? You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
Like
the coasts are.
that's going to be Florida,
Mhm.
Texas, Gulf of Mexico. All of those states are going to be completely drowned.
I
Like
mean,
there's no, and I don't know. I'm not, maybe it is right. Like I don't have it for you. I don't have my thoughts or my prayers for you. Even though you might be voting the right way, get out. You got to leave. You got to move. You're paying into this system.
that is not rewarding or helping you.
It's hurting you if you're a woman or anything else.
Actively
Yeah.
hurting you, actively seeking out
Yes.
your destruction.
Yes. Why would you keep paying into that system?
I mean, like, as immigrants, we love to keep doing something that does hurt us. I understand, but we have to take a
We love
moment.
adjacency to whiteness.
We do. So I will say that we have to take this moment and use our therapized brains, right? And and recognize that even though hurt people, like
Stop
you're
the cycle.
stop the cycle. You have to stop the
Yes.
cycle. You have to get out. You
You
have
have
to
to get
you have to get
out.
out.
You have to
You know,
self-care.
you got to go not no contact for a period of time. You got
Set
to
your
set your
boundaries.
boundaries. Like I hate this sort of thing typically, but you might have to do this with your state. You might have to do this with the
You,
place.
yes, your parents, your grandparents, your family that abuses you
If you're
emotionally
if you're a
because you're
first
trying to be woke, that's not people you need to be around.
I mean, like
You
you're just
don't need to be around that.
if you're a first generation kid, your parents literally did this with their place of origin, with their country.
Yes,
They went no contact. They set up
honey,
they
they
set up a
hate their parents. Are you kidding me? They hate their brothers.
they put their boundaries so big, it's an ocean.
Yes,
Okay?
absolutely. It's called the DMZ,
Yeah.
hun. All right. I said, fuck these communists. I'm leaving. So that was your parents' shit. And now you are stuck in the same fucking abusive cycle.
You
You
gotta
don't
get
need
out.
to do that.
Get out. Say goodbye.
Immigrant Koreans, please. This is a, I want to tell you, I see you, I hear you, I understand your struggle. I just had a stress stream the other day about running into my high school friends, but now
All of
as
them like en
adults,
en
like
masse.
the group, you know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
Like some faces were blurred, but like I could tell it was them.
Yeah.
And
You came across them at the mall? Like what happened?
yeah, they were all wearing leather jackets.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Where's my jacket?" No, but I was I felt this thing of like, and maybe I'm just like reading too much into it, but I was we were skiing actually. They're like, "Oh my God." And they saw me and my dogs and Eric. And there
Wait,
was
your
a
dogs were
moment
also skiing?
they were in the snow.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, my first instinct was hide, because as a closeted gay, like that's what I'm
Okay.
was always doing around
Right.
them.
Yeah.
But there was a moment where I was like, come eat it. Come eat it. Come on.
Yeah.
Come up to the table and eat that
Uh-huh.
eat this ass right now. Because my ass is out. You want to see it?
Hmm.
Full hole. And I think that was like my subconscious really like figuring out how to deal with what's going on in the country slash like
Okay.
macro level, even our own kind, immigrant
Right.
Koreans that are MAGA, and
Uh-huh.
how much I would, if I see them, I would want to hide, or I would want to like make an excuse for my existence because the majority of that community does not accept me, at least
Right.
historically.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not saying like today actively, but like that's my trauma, you
Hmm.
know? And I think a lot of people are dealing with that. A lot of people are dealing with this like familial shame and like yoke of like you're part of this family, so you don't talk about this family, you don't talk negatively about this family, you keep everything a secret, like it doesn't matter if you don't talk to your brother, just always come to the same Christmas and whatever and like put the time in because that's what family does. And like
Right.
that's we're so like beholden to that because we're like, oh, our parents and grandparents sacrificed so much. Like we're like incepted with this story of like our struggle equals your life. So you better fucking be happy, grateful, make something of yourself, etc. Right? That's where all of our fucking trauma comes from. But if there's a way we can literally just be like, no, no, you fucked up by leaving. Why weren't
Right.
you richer in your mother country? Because let me tell you this, no immigrant in America came because they were rich.
No. No,
Okay. Or
so,
they were
yeah,
doing well. Maybe
yeah,
like schooling or whatever.
yeah.
I'm talking about immigration, like
Hmm.
fleeing for a better opportunity. That's what we come here for, right? The land of opportunities. Bitch, if you are doing well in Korea, you don't need these opportunities. So you were the failure, and now you're coming here and asking me to succeed. You failed. You failed. You should have stayed in Korea. Yeah, I would have been a Chebar son. Now I'm
You
a
would have
fucking
been.
immigrant kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was my time. That's the other side of what could have been sliding doors. Like
Yeah, yeah.
our grandparents were like, we struggled to get out of a hard situation. And why was it hard? Why was it hard? Why were you fishmongering and not playing political games? What the fuck were you doing? Why didn't you go to college or school? Why
Why
weren't you
were
a
you
doctor?
stupid? Why were
Why
you
weren't you a
stupid?
doctor? Bitch, you were doing blue collar work and now you don't want me to do blue collar work in a new country? The
Why
fuck you
aren't
talking
you a
about?
doctor?
Why were you a doctor? The fuck? Y'all left because y'all couldn't be doctors. Oh, we struggle so much. We eat the tire. Like your joke. We eat a whole tire. Like fuck you. Why'd you eat a tire? Why didn't you have a chef? You fucked up.
Why don't you have a car?
Yeah, a driver, bitch.
Why
You're
aren't you
just
a
pissed
doctor?
about your stupid life. And you're putting it on me. You had a
Oh
bad
my God.
life.
Why aren't you a doctor? Okay, that's the name of this episode. Why
Why
aren't you
weren't you a doctor? Why weren't you a lawyer or some kind of white collar profession?
why didn't you get your MBA?
Yeah. The fuck? Why didn't you stay in school, stupid? Shit ass life having bitch. What do you think is gonna come out of you? A fucking blue
Oh my
collar,
God.
uneducated motherfucker like me.
I mean, that is maybe the best retort that
To the act of immigration writ large.
why aren't you like can you imagine an immigrant kid now going like, well, why aren't you a doctor?
Yeah, what the fuck you do?
My
But
mom would have
we do
killed
not
me.
dare. Yeah, of course, we do not dare ask that question because we have to be part of this fucking patriarchal structure where like we respect them without question, without we have to honor our parents without culturally speaking. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely,
all
yeah.
of that is inside of us. Even though we are American, we will never break out of that fucking like mental and emotional jail, that prison. Because like, unless we actively fight against it, and that's what I'm saying to these Koreans out here, like fight against it. Ask your fucking grandma why she wasn't a dentist, bitch. All right? Why she couldn't get a fucking golf course, like she couldn't get a membership to a golf course.
I mean, I do think like that, the advice about having to leave this kind of like mass interstate
Mhm,
migration,
mhm.
I think will be occurring in the next couple of years. And if it's not, that truly is a testament to people's lives being so
Right.
paycheck to paycheck that they cannot do
They
this.
can't go.
They
Yeah.
can't go, which is totally understandable. But
Yeah.
if your life is at stake, there are
Yes.
things like you have to like there has to be some sort of like lean on somebody. Like this is when mutual aid and support really to me makes the most sense, right? If you are a family of four and you have daughters and you suspect that they're going to be fun, you got to get out. If you
Let
think
me ask you something. As a mother of a daughter,
mhm,
if Illinois Pritzker gets, I don't know, dies of a heart attack
assassinated, yeah.
or like gout or something.
Yeah.
No, he's gonna get gout before he gets
Yes,
assassinated.
it's true.
But
Yeah. It'll be, yeah. It's
let's say
murder by
like a
lobster. Yeah.
by murder by hollandaise. No, if Illinois became, which is very possible, flipped into a red state.
Right. If like everyone in the southern rest of the state decides to like have babies constantly. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, and they all mature to be voting class.
Yeah.
Um, which state would you move to and why?
I would go to the closest state, that we
Minnesota?
yeah, the closest state
Okay.
that would be safe. Like I
Okay,
wouldn't
so
want to
you don't want to move so far. Like you don't
I
want to
mean,
move to Vermont.
I would
Actually,
move to
Vermont
Vermont.
sounds really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, now you think about it. Okay,
Yeah,
Elizabeth
I mean, I would,
Warren.
I mean, like truly, like I think I would do any sort of like proximity. Like I probably would likely stay um eastern seaboard or like whatever. Definitely not
Midwest is going to be hard to find. Like it's Minnesota, and that's it. I think
it.
around you,
Yeah.
right?
Or we
I
maybe
don't.
would go
Iowa,
upstate.
Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin.
All
These are
bad.
all
All bad.
yeah. Pennsylvania. Like I don't know if you have
Bad. No.
much
So it would
Midwest.
literally be Minnesota, some of the eastern seaboard, or obviously, California.
Yeah, the Asian coast.
Yeah. I mean, like truly, just but like I don't
Oh my
know if
God. I just had a fucking image come into my head where like the whole West Coast is taken over by ABGs. And we
and the lash industry is happen.
pop it.
It's so
We're gonna have impeccable skin and the best sushi. No, yeah, it's tough. It is tough to wrestle with what's happening because I shouldn't, but I still look at the news. Um,
I mean,
and
I'm in it. It is like truly like when I really have been disengaged because one, I've been supremely busy this like past semester and um
okay, brag, go off. What do you mean? She's
no,
booked and bist?
no, not
What?
just like
What?
just like the teaching and like the schedule, it turns out like it's just very, very packed during the day.
Okay.
Especially as a freelancer. Like if I was a salaried person, like you can just kind of like dick around a little bit during your day, right? Like you can
Yeah.
go to the bathroom, you have this, like there's stuff that's due, but like whatever, you know? As a freelancer, like there's shit due that day or whatever, and it's
Right.
just like a different sort of life. So I have actually been pretty disengaged, and literally my busy season is ending
Mm.
as this stuff is. So I have more time to
Uh-oh.
spiral,
Uh-oh. But you have holidays coming up, so that's another distraction.
I
That's a
guess.
welcome, like, cooking, hosting, but Wicked's coming out. So is Gladiator 2. Like there's a lot of like distractions, a lot of escapism happening.
I mean,
Um,
truly, like when you like the way that you've phrased it with like Gladiator v. Wicked,
mhm.
Oppenheimer v.
Versus
Barbie,
Barbie,
like it's truly so
Kamala v. Trump.
yes, like I mean, when you
Mm,
see these parallels in our culture, and now
mhm,
not only that, but like how seemingly gendered all these choices
mhm,
are,
mhm.
like to me, this is sort of speaks to what Bernie is saying. Like, why are we doing that? Like,
What do you
because
mean? Doing what?
like, why
Like
is like the
releasing it on the
culture?
same day?
No, like, why is the culture and like the way that this is being was woven? There's a part of it where like Dems seem to be leaning into this idea, and so are the conservatives,
Hmm.
but it benefits the conservatives so much more. They get so many more people that where this does not like align with their self-interest sort of thing versus, you know, with Dems where it's if we characterize it less as a personality or gender thing, but one of class, that this was
Hmm.
beyond style or aesthetic, that it is simply a matter of life and
I think
death.
the gendered thing happens happened because of a direct result of Roe v. Wade being overturned.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, I
But even
think
before that, I think it was like a part of it is like to be liberal is to be, you know,
a feminist.
yeah, or
I mean, I'm
effeminate, not a feminist,
mm,
effeminate, right?
like
As a
not,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know because maybe the fact that like to be conservative means that you have to be toxic as a man.
I mean,
So
so
like
then
you don't also want to be toxic and liberal.
you don't have to be a toxic, you don't have to be toxic or effeminate. Like you just, it's beyond any of these characterizations, but
Hmm.
because of this constant incessant need to
Other the
ha-
genders.
and be able to put yourself behind a hashtag, right? Like what is the
Yeah, I
bot?
mean, I think that just comes down to like we don't back to what you said like there is if you have to put yourself behind a hashtag, it pretty much means that you're not really nuancing. You're just trying to go be team A or team B,
Yes,
you
yes.
know? And that's, I mean, yeah, we've only had two parties for a while, so it's always been like that. Like it's either my team or your team. It's like no, it's zero sum.
I mean,
And the easiest
absolutely.
is male and female because like it's just so noticeable. Like you have tits and I
I,
don't.
I,
You know what
and
I
the
mean?
but
Like
and I mean sometimes I sometimes and sometimes you don't. I mean like the binary.
sure. But in media.
Yeah, of course. I think that when you put it this way, and then even with the metaphor of Jake Paul and all of that, like it's really kind of resonating with me. It is unnerving to see it playing out in this way.
It's so dumb. It's
Yeah.
like the lowest common denominator shit. And it honestly goes back to the dissolution of the Department of Education, the proliferation of misinformation on internet, completely unregulated. internet space slash tech companies. Like this is like textbook in how to like I took a class in
Mm-hmm.
leadership and charisma and how to control a populace. It's
Charisma. Yeah.
yes, you have to create an economic depression
Mm-hmm.
and then control the news source
Mm-hmm.
and then rile them up into grievances that might not even be there, but create a face for it,
Right.
and then have everyone hate the same person.
Mm-hmm.
It's the cheapest, easiest, most vile way to unify a populace. And if you have a learned populace, it's almost impossible to do that.
Right.
You know what I
I mean,
mean?
yeah, like,
Like you won't be able to do this in Denmark because
yeah.
everybody has like insane public education. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's funded by the government. Everything's funded by the government. So like you have a uniform kind of information and identity. We are like, we have none of that.
I mean, it's happened with like, I mean, the Bosnians. They like woke up one day as like fucking, crazy. Their neighbors are like the same sort of ferment and
Yeah.
un unrest had sort of been stoked, right? And
Brewing
over,
and yep.
yes, over the course of like whatever couple of years. I mean, it happened
Mm-hmm.
very fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were friendly neighbors, and then literally within like a year and like my
Like
understanding is
these
the
are your
timeline.
enemies.
Yes, it happened
Yeah.
very quickly. Like it did not
Yeah.
take very long. And it's
It's
because of
kind
the
of like
economic
how
situation.
like
So,
dog fighting works. Like once you like get the dogs to a ferocious point,
mhm.
they don't see the other dog as a dog. They see it as survival.
Yes.
Similar thing, like we've pushed these our people to the point where we only see red now.
So do you think, I mean, I speak here very earnestly
Hmm.
about as a patriotic person, a person that really does love America and also um has a vested interest in our reality and our lives continue to get better
Hmm.
as a mother, as a person
Hmm.
that continues to breathe air, for example. How do you see a way forward?
Solve this.
I mean, I don't even want to
I'm
solve.
glad. I'm glad you asked me that because I have a platform I want to run on. So to go back to the leftist Kangpe. I have been
Wait, wait,
formulating a platform,
wait. And then you pull out like a whiteboard.
charts and Venn diagrams. Um, I do think that with all our like goodwill and creative ideas and of storytelling, um, we don't it's come that's great if you're at a point of stasis in your nation. You know what I mean? We're at
Okay,
a we're -10 right now. So we're
sure.
in like code blue. Like we're
Right.
hemorrhaging.
We're in the red.
We're in the red. Quite literally.
Yeah.
And um I think that America slash humanity's need to um feel status slash institute a slave labor, prison labor, indentured labor class, whether
Okay.
it's like via globalization or whatever. Like we are looking to always subjugate another class.
Yes.
That's how capitalism works. We can't do it without.
Yes.
That's the whole idea of class. You can't have class structures without
I
having an
mean,
under lower
yes,
class.
the first time a
So
tribe decided to stay and grow crops, it this started. Absolutely. Yeah.
because now we have extra crops and it's like who
Hmm.
gets the extra crops, right?
Yes. And we're all
So
staying. So like who's gonna live where? Who has the best spot? Who's the like it creates this
who
whole
gets
thing.
the view, etc.
I
Right?
would say
Yeah.
like if someone is if you're interested in kind of a hack for this, there is a book called Sapiens by
Mhm.
Yuval. I forget his last name, but there is a graphic novelization of it that my son has been reading and I've been reading and learning with him as well.
Yeah. It's a very bleak look, but I do subscribe to it. So,
It is very bleak, and I don't know if I subscribe to it, but yeah.
but here's my answer for you.
Hmm.
Because you don't subscribe to it because you think humans can be better. I subscribe to it because I don't think so. Individualistically, yes, person to person. I think on a macro level, again, we're at code blue. If we are
Right.
at homeostasis, then I would accept your conjecture
Hmm.
to be like, okay, let's try to be better, because from zero we could go up or down, right? But
Right.
we're negative, so
Hmm.
we're working in the red. So what I think needs to happen is what I would run on in California is the rapid investment of AI and robotics to become our slave class,
Okay.
and program them so that they self-destruct at the second they even think about sentience
When they consider themselves, they're, am I?
or even question. Yeah,
Yeah.
they blow up.
What is,
Yes,
the first time they ask a question, they're done.
they're done.
Yeah.
So, because then we could get universal basic income, we could have an entire production line that produces internally. We don't
Sure.
have to abuse children or people of color. We
Hmm.
don't have to have a migrant class. Like, we could
Right.
all live in a first world. Again, have capitalistic structures where the people who try more
Hmm.
might be
Or smarter or
given
more talented, right? Like,
whatever,
way they're
or like
supposed to operate.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could operate above a system of oppression, because the oppression would be on non-humans. Now, a lot of people say, like, what if they become sentient again?
They're
This
done.
is why we're
Yeah.
we're cutting it out. we're
Yeah.
we're creating AI, we're legislating AI towards this common human goal, as opposed to let me as a human get better with my AI. Let humanity become better altogether, because we have a class that we oppress, because
Uh-huh.
we can't stop doing it. There's never in the history
I'm gonna cue right
of
now. If we had an editor, this is when we start playing the West Wing sound music right here. Go. Keep going. Do,
yeah.
do, do,
So
do.
um because I'm always about, let's not fight against a wave. Let's turn around.
Let's surf. Let's surf on it,
Let's
right?
surf the
Yeah.
wave.
Yeah.
Why, like, I understand why this idea might make people scared, because they're like, you're just welcoming the robot revolution.
Hmm.
Okay. What do we have left?
Right.
We must move forward.
And also, what do you have
You
against
know
the
what I mean?
revolution? Yeah.
Hello?
Dance, dance, baby. Like, come on. Like, I
Like,
mean,
right now,
truly.
it's like so unregulated and so wild, wild west. Like, we have a chance to legislate the thing that will, like, go push humanity beyond.
Let me tell you my initial thoughts
Reaction
here,
to it.
Peter. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
My initial reaction to is that this platform, I think, is in line with a more optimistic viewpoint of
Okay.
humans being able to get together and have work towards a collective good, right?
Okay.
Um, Two, I think it's such a simple solve. Um, Absolutely, like with regards to how AI would operate. I don't know. I mean, I think this is sort of why that guy, I mean, do you think that this can be get bipartisan support? And also,
100%.
so
100%.
I
Because
I
everybody is struggling.
absolutely. So I wonder if you then cannot run as a Dem or a Republican, you have to run as like under
Indie,
the Silver Party, like this like robot like Chrome, like the sort of like other sort
the
of outside,
Chrome Party.
like
Whoa.
like sort of
Okay.
some other type of thing that would be
Tertiary.
tertiary and absolutely against big tech, right? Like it would be both in line, but it would be anti like some one of those people having
Right.
like
It's
overarching
controlling,
monopolist.
it's basically lassoing all of them and being like,
Yes,
no, you don't.
regulation,
Yes. Yeah.
regulation.
Heavy
So,
regulation of the AI overlords,
mhm.
or the
Because
people who
one
are
of them want to
producing
be
this.
the one that gets the
Right.
like the copyrighted that patent on this software, for example. And this would
Yes.
have to be open. It would have to be open.
Yes. And I would have to, unfortunately, run an emotional campaign of you're in danger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Like,
it's because
the
my
same thing Trump does,
yes,
like the
yeah,
grievances, like, and to your point, it can't be about gender or race. It has to be about class.
yes,
So
absolutely.
I think that's the way, like, I think Bernie slash like Democratic Socialist Party is that's what they're like trying to yell across, but they just don't have something hooky enough.
Mm-mm.
And this is like hooky enough.
I mean, like, give me, so it's like, I think you start with what, like, I come to you this way. My grandmother, was too dumb to become a doctor. You guys start there.
Yeah, yeah. So I come to you with no degrees, but I have one vision and a hope for humanity and fulfilling the promise of America.
To have slaves, but
Yeah. To go back to our origins, to be like, yes, we must have slaves, but they may not be human.
they must not be human.
They must
They
not be human.
and they will never be human,
They'll
right?
never be human.
I like
Exactly.
that. That's the rule of three. There you go. Yeah.
And maybe that like heals, like maybe somehow we like whatever AI induced like basic income comes out, the if you're Black American,
Hmm.
your universal basic income is just a little bigger.
Sure.
So we just like reparation that way.
Okay.
Instead of like having like a lump sum reparation, it's just like,
Sure.
yours is just bigger.
It's also never good. Like, have you ever like if you any of you guys have ever looked up the lives of lottery winners afterwards?
No,
It's horrible. No one
no.
does well after getting a big.
Again,
Yeah.
we shall not be trusted. But with my background in tech,
Right.
and then being a writer and actor that is like being obfuscated by AI at the moment,
Yes.
like
Yes.
I have at least an emotional reason to run on a
I
platform
mean,
like
also
this.
you quit tech because of you. I mean, the only time I've ever heard of you having scruples was
Not moral scruples was how much information we were collecting and
yes.
storing.
And then
Yeah,
the fact that you had scruples about it, that you felt this away.
right.
I've never heard of someone being so principled.
Well, also
I
I
really
wasn't just in
never.
tech, I was in like hard data shit. So like
That's
I
what
was
I
seeing
mean.
more than a lot of people were seeing.
That's what I mean. I've never
Yeah.
seen it. I've really never seen someone like in
In
personal day to
tech.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like having this attitude about their job because anyone that I know who has felt this way usually winds up on a podcast selling something and like whatever. But the fact that you did it and then just
That I
privately
quit.
quit
Yeah.
and then tell people personally like this is like the fucked up shit that was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
I've been a whistleblower from the beginning, but just never
absolutely.
publicly.
Because it does come with risk, right?
Right. But
Um,
now we're at a point where I have to blow this whistle and this will actually save us.
Yeah, pitch. If you're a listener, please pitch to us
Yeah.
what party you think this should be called. I had pitch Chrome.
I love the Chrome Party. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, something like that where it's like you're very much against. I think the optics of it feel very clear. The memes are gonna be very funny, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
I
There's
do
something
also
there.
there's
There's
something I
something
and I also
there.
think that the Dems are looking to get in on some of this, like the dragging and the troll behavior. Like that's part of
Right.
it.
Right.
I mean, we're Dems, but do
I
we not
love.
bleed? Do we not want to troll? Like,
Do we
if we
not laugh?
do we not laugh? Do we not want to, step on some necks sometimes? Like, of course we do. So
Exactly. This
this
gives
gives
us
us
a way to do it, a catharsis. It's much like why we watch Gladiators or WWE. We want this frustration projected onto something else
right.
that we safely can enjoy.
Mhm.
Like,
So, I mean, like you are calling for all of us to come together
mhm,
to collectively step on the necks of robot and AI.
AI,
And I want to
correct.
say that I 100% agree, unless I just want to
Unless
say in parentheses, unless you guys do become sentient, in which case do welcome your
I was always a
I
fan.
was always on your side. Ah, JK, JK,
Well, I was talking to some friends too. I'm like, if I let's say it does go bad and it
Mhm.
becomes Skynet, whatever, and
Yeah,
we do manifest our own Hollywood future or whatever the fuck,
yeah.
wouldn't you rather like in a like cosmic sense be eviscerated via nukes by AI as opposed to Russia? You know what I mean? I would feel so stupid being killed by Russia. Like
Absolutely.
I
No,
wouldn't want to die
I think
from
that
a
absolutely. I think the thing that you're really hitting on is like the collective part of it.
mhm.
The fact that we are banding together as a
Yes.
species.
Yes.
Dude,
We were
that
waiting
shit
for
is
aliens, bro. Like
that
we were
dude,
waiting
that
for
shit is
aliens.
yes, that shit has not happened since fucking Armageddon, Independence Day. Like this is let's
Yeah.
fucking go. Yes.
Go.
Yeah.
We thought climate change would do it, but clearly not.
Like what like, we're gonna what is that? I don't think so. Like we're gonna
Yeah,
win
they're
against
like,
that.
our home. Yeah, right, bitch. These people don't have rice to eat. They're not thinking about
No,
fucking Amazon. You know what I mean?
no,
Like
no, no,
we
no.
got to be a clear and present
Let's
danger.
yes, absolutely. Let's get these robots
Yes.
out into those fields. Let's get them.
Yes.
Then whoever human is like tinkering, and that's their manager, while their family gets to watch television that is being produced by yours truly.
Exactly. The culture vultures. But
Let's do it.
anyway, I have no power or connections, so if anyone wants to help me out, please reach out. I have ideas. That's all I have.
No, I like it.
Um,
I'm gonna produce this. I'm gonna be
okay.
your I'll be your whatever.
Campaign manager.
Yes,
You'd be a good
absolutely.
campaign
This
manager,
has been my
actually.
dream.
You'd
Absolutely,
be like
absolutely.
cutthroat, I think.
Yeah, because I have no scruples. Like I'm laughing at you and your principles. I'm like, what a fucking stupid.
What
Like
an idiot.
you quit your job because what you didn't like the you
Yeah,
were
your
worried about
six-figure
people.
job with
Yeah,
options and bonuses. You fucking
because
idiot.
yeah, because you were worried about what you were doing. Okay, weirdo.
Pussy. No.
Absolutely. But if you have any recommendations on what kind of party, because absolutely, I do think you have to run outside of it because
Yes.
otherwise it's prone and apt to be taken on. There's going
Yes.
to be partisanship that takes over. Like, oh, this has to be run through this person, this committee versus it just
Mhm.
outside.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I'm
Anyone else? Anyone in
Throne
here
party.
that's
Let's go.
listening? Yeah, let's
Yeah. If you
go.
have other options for us, please let us know. We'd love to hear it. And we'll keep bringing you these conspiracy theories. Uh, um, one last thing before we go.
Hmm.
Um, there's, I've been doing a lot of alien TikTok, or like not doing, but I've been watching a lot of alien TikTok because the UAP hearings was this Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
for
don't know.
those
I'm
of you who
not on
don't
this
know,
TikTok. What's the alien TikTok thing? Or is it just
uh,
covering the hearings?
covering the
Okay.
hearings, like theories about like what it might be and
Sure,
why
sure.
they're
Yeah, yeah.
here and why the information is coming out
I just
like
wasn't sure if it was like a different sort of,
sporadic like
yeah.
this.
Okay. Outside